Dr. George, the first question, and this one will have a 2-minute answer, so looks like you've got it set up right. Yesterday, a U.S. Senate committee approved a comprehensive immigration bill. It seems like an amnesty bill since illegal immigrants are allowed to stay in the United States. Having been here for 5 minutes or 50 years, under what circumstances should an illegal immigrant be allowed to stay in the United States? And this, you have 2 minutes to answer that.
2 minutes. Might not take that long. I'm not really very familiar with the immigration bill and all that stuff. I do think that we are a country of immigrants. My grandparents are from Ireland, and we came here legally, I'm quite sure. And I think a lot of people look to this country here to be a place where they can find freedom, justice, and different things to this effect. And I don't know all the entails of the bill that they have brought forth and approved here, but there are quite a few good people in Congress right now, and I think that it will all prove out there things that we do have somewhat of a divided Congress, that the Senate is of one party, the House is of another party and all, and so they're balancing themselves. And so once again, I don't know a lot about the bill as it stands, it has been written or so, but I am for immigration in this country, legal immigration, but those that are here right now, as long as they are not criminals, I think that they have should be paying taxes just like the rest of us or so. And I got 30 seconds left, and so I'll let it go at that and nothing else.
Whether 5 minutes or 50 years, it really makes no difference. Amnesty does not belong to anyone who's crossed the border illegally. They made a decision when they crossed that border to break the law. Now let's put the shoe on the other foot. What happens if we go across the border going the other way and break the law? What's going to happen to us? Are we going to get the same fair treatment over in Mexico as we give their folks when they come over here? I want to make something very clear, and that is that I love Mexico. I love Mexican food, and all the Mexicans that I've met are fine folks. I even stood up when I was in the Marine Corps in a Mexican wedding. That was quite an experience. That being said, the law is the law, and it must be respected. So there should be no amnesty. We need to secure our borders. Those who are here illegally can go back out the door and get behind those in line, the 4 million people who want to immigrate legally, who are trying to do it right. They need to go back out the door, get behind, and start to do it the right way.
Well, first of all, I don't think that's right. I disagree with it. You know, I would welcome immigrants into the United States if they came in under the same auspices as other members of our society. You know, but if they come in and start taking jobs that are American jobs, and they're not certified or qualified, I think that's wrong. I think that the way that we fix that problem is we come up with a national tamper-proof identification card that would run through a national registry, and this could be verified. I have friends in our district that employ Hispanics and different ones. They take great pride in making sure that they're certified and that they're legal. Good friends of mine. As farther you go south in my district, down into down into Pemiscot County, you'll see more and more. And I think they're very concerned. Most of the people that I deal with in my state representative district are very concerned that they are legal and they don't take the jobs away from Americans here who deserve them.
Well, first of all, if they're illegal, they shouldn't be allowed to stay in America. That's number one. Then, this is it. I have a different circumstance than most people. I married a German girl when I was in the military, and part of that was they said she may not get to come to America. She came to America, she was on a visa, and she had to wait her due process to become a citizen. And if she wouldn't have done the things that were legally set for her, she wouldn't have become a citizen. I have no problem with immigration as long as it's done legally and done responsibly. I don't think that anybody should just be given a citizenship. Another thing is America. You know, it used to be the land of the free. Everyone wanted to come to America to be an American. Now people want to come to America to take advantage of America. And that bothers me. If they're going to come here, they got to be an American, they got to speak English, and they got to vow to protect our country at any cost. Thank you.
None. I'm completely against amnesty, and that's what amnesty is all about. You know, when you look at, trying to cut me off, it's all right. When you look at immigration, there's several things we need to do. One, the first and foremost, we need to secure our borders. Quite simply, if you secure our borders, that's going to create and fix a lot of the problems. The other two aspects is that you need to make sure that we make sure government does not provide benefits to illegal aliens. I mean, if you cut off the source, they're not going to stay around. If they're illegal, there's clearly a pathway to citizenship that anyone can follow. The laws are on the books, and they just need to do that.
An illegal immigrant should never be allowed to stay in the United States. But I believe people across the borders, and the vast majority of immigrants, are simply doing the same thing my ancestors did, leaving a terrible condition for their homeland for a better life in the United States. I oppose any form of welfare benefits to those who enter this country illegally. Those who come here to work and build a better life for themselves and their families must always be welcome. I acknowledge that immigration can be a problem in the border states, especially when violence erupts as a result of our failed war on drugs or our infrastructure stress due to the availability of welfare. The key is not to reform our immigration laws, but rather to end the welfare state. There should be no wall. The wall is offensive to me. What are we, East and West Berlin? They could be required to take their place in the back of the line. They should eventually apply, for permanent residency. Lastly, fear of illegal immigration should not be used to justify a police state or national ID cards.
Okay, the audience was asked the above questions and believe the following are unconstitutional, and Obamacare was what they decided on. If you are asked to vote on legislation that pays for the full year of veterans' benefits, but also funds for the spending for items you deem unconstitutional, such as Obamacare, will you vote for or against the bill, and why?
As far as Obamacare goes, I actually have found that Obamacare has been very beneficial. Both hospitals have come out in favor of Obamacare. That the reason why they're beneficial to the hospitals is the hospitals make more money by there. There are good parts to this bill. There's good parts to all bills that they put forth. And a lot of the representatives like a lot of fat added to it for their own districts or so. And I think that the line item veto is where we need to have something so that people can just knock out some of these fat parts that they're getting for their own selves that are not necessary, and that they try to hold the Congress under fear of like filibustering there. And so I just think that the people of this country do need health care, and I agree. Health care is ridiculous when you can buy a $100,000 operation in one part of town and get it for $50,000 at the other part of town.
If elected, I intend to vote no a lot when I go to Washington. If you stir in evil with good, it's still evil, and you can't support that. No matter how much I would love to support our veterans, and I am a veteran and I support them and I want to provide for our veterans, and that is under the enumerated powers of Congress, Section 1 or Article 1, Section 8, providing for our military includes our veterans. But I will not vote to support the funding of Obamacare in any way, shape, or form.
Well, first of all, I have some disagreements with the Affordable Health Care Act. I think it puts a tremendous financial burden on small businesses, and small businesses are the backbone of our country, the backbone of our economy here in southeast Missouri. I mean, I come from East Prairie, Missouri. I mean, I was a small businessman. Our family had a supermarket for 43 years. I know what that's about. In the same respect, the Affordable Health Care Act, I think, in taking pre-existing conditions and accepting those, and also the extension of coverage till they're 26 years old, I think that helps families out. So would I vote to subsidize it? At this present time, I would not.
I will vote against it, and I'll tell you the reason why. I am a veteran, but I also believe our country is in the place they are because of these loopholes and adding on to bills. Every bill written should be specific and to the point, and that's it. They shouldn't have any loopholes. Thank you.
You know, that's the problem that a lot of folks get upset with, is that you can't vote black and white on a particular issue. What they're going to have to do, and what I would do and what I've done in the Missouri House, is to fight over and over with amendments to try to take out the unconstitutional provisions. And that's how I would be trying to clean up the legislation so you could actually pass it where it's constitutional.
I would vote against that bill. I would vote for any mandates coming down from Congress in that vein. So, health care, as an example, is the Affordable Health Care Act is offering neither one. It's not affordable, and it's not offering any care, and it should be repealed instantly, right away. And I would be an advocate for that. So I would not support any type of legislation for the Affordable Care Act or any type of legislation that's mandated or unfunded, especially unfunded mandate to the people.
Okay, question number 3. Candidates often campaign on the notion that the United States should cut off foreign aid to certain countries based on their behavior and ally status. Considering that we are almost $17 trillion in debt, this seems like a no-brainer to us. What countries do you believe should be cut off from foreign aid, and will you commit to voting no on a bill that sends American aid to these countries, even if the bill is the mechanism for funding veterans' benefits? You have 1 minute for this.
I will try to eliminate what I think is something that needs to be voted no on. Under no circumstances would I vote no under a veteran's benefit. Right now I have a claim in for my hard of hearing, tinnitus or so, from where I've got it in Korea, from sitting in between quad 50 machine guns. But my hard of hearing is nothing compared to what some of our guys have lost all of their limbs and their arms and all of that stuff. So honestly, I would try to modify whatever I could. And yes, I would vote for my veterans, my comrades in arms. That's it.
No, I can't vote for anything that's evil just to achieve veterans benefits. And no, I don't support spending money on other countries. I showed you the picture of the most important reason I'm standing before you tonight in the form of my grandchildren. When the federal government is borrowing somewhere between 40 and 46 cents out of every dollar that it is spending, and my grandchildren are now being labeled the debt-paying generation, no, I'm not going to vote for more debt on their shoulders.
My son that went to West Point was in Europe for 6 years. He was in Bosnia, Kosovo, and he was also in North Iraq for a year. I look at countries like Egypt and Syria and Afghanistan. They're enemies to us, and we continue to send them millions of dollars. I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. Why should we give money to our enemies when they're trying to destroy us, develop nuclear weapons and things of that nature? I think that we should continue political, ties with them as far as diplomatics. But taking money away from the United States when we have people here who don't have meals to eat, we have people who can't go to the hospital and get medical care, folks, that's not right. You take care of your own first, and then take care of everybody else.
Well, that goes back to my last statement. You know, I'm an American, and I'm a veteran, and I know how these benefits are for veterans. I felt I was deprived at one time. I have a son that's a combat medic. But you know what? When it comes to doing the right thing, you got to stand up. And I don't believe in giving money to countries that are unstable. Like we give $60 million to Egypt for their young people to go to college and start businesses. And we're in a financial thing in America right now. How unrealistic is that? I have no problem with helping foreign countries, but you got to take care of home. My mama taught me we have to take care of home, then we take care of everybody else. And that's my stance on that.
1 minute.
When you look at the national debt, we have more than $16.4 trillion in national debt. That's more than $53,000 that each and every one of you owe. Whenever you're looking at funding, you know, foreign sources, the first thing you need to look at and decide if that needs to be funded. Does that country burn our flag because they are not our friend? If they burn our flag and they're not our friend, we should not fund them.
Yes, the answer is yes. I would vote against that. What countries would I cut off foreign aid? Every single one of them. Not a one would get foreign aid from us. Okay. In addition to that, we could put $12,000 into every family's pocket by closing every foreign military base, and do it right away. This would save a tremendous amount of money for us. So we should stop occupying these countries. We should close all these foreign military bases, and we should bring all those soldiers home. We should end our foreign commitments altogether and stop being a police state to the rest of this world.
Okay, this is the fourth and final question, and he will be allowed 2 minutes to answer this one. Okay, organizations like the Cape County Tea Party have been targeted by Barack Obama's IRS for undue and likely illegal scrutiny, while Democrat-leaning organizations were approved with haste. The director of the IRS, Lois Lerner, testified on Capitol Hill today regarding this scandal. What is your first question that you would have asked Ms. Lerner, and what is your solution to this problem we have with the IRS? 2 minutes.
I don't believe that's too hard of a question to answer. I think every organization that applies for tax-free status should be judged on their own merits, not on whether they are Republicans or Democrats or conservatives or liberals or whatever. My first question would have asked her, why did they judge conservative people just because they were conservative on there? I don't understand a lot of the things that go on in things. That's the reason why that we do have a staff that we can be counseled by and take their advice, and actually take the advice of the people out in our areas for their, which we have not done, where 99% of the people voted that on the gun amendment there, where then our Congress did not see fit to even take into granted, take anything for sure that our people, I'm sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied here, that I think that we have to put everything under its own merit and listen to the people who are advising us and listen to our constituents on there, and the people will tell you what they want, and that sometimes what they want might not be the best thing in this world for all of us, but it is for the majority. And I think one of the things that Abe Lincoln did say, of the people, for the people, and by the people, and hopefully not perish from this earth. That's my...
What I would ask her is, would you leave the room? Now, this problem with the 501c3 organizations, whether it be a Tea Party or, like locally, the Marine Corps League, or maybe your local church, it all goes back to the same story. Back in 1954, there was a freshman senator from the state of Texas. He ran a campaign and he won, but after he was elected, He attached a rider to an appropriations bill that did not go through committee. It was not discussed or debated or voted on in committee, nor was it discussed, debated, or voted on the floor. It sailed right through. And that rider targeted a foundation that had attacked him during the campaign. He was vindictive. He was going after a particular organization. And by broad strokes, he included all 501c3s. So that's why every organization like yours is so limited by you can't speak your First Amendment rights or exercise them because of this bill. Now, my idea is to give us all, every individual, every group of people, back their First Amendment rights by going back and repealing that rider. Every person, every group in this nation has a right to speak and speak their minds politically. That's what it's all about. Now, we had the Citizens United ruling by the Supreme Court. Says the corporations and companies and wealthy individuals can spend as much as they want to and say whatever they want to. Let's give the freedom of speech back to all citizens, all groups, including the Tea Party.
Well, first of all, I would ask her if she didn't think this was an infringement of rights. You know, we all have rights, privacy rights. And I think the IRS has done a great disservice to the Tea Party and some other target organizations that they single out. This is wrong. They should not be sharing this information with other people, and I think we need to take steps to correct that. You know, this reminds me, I was just a youngster in the 50s during the days of McCarthyism, but I've seen enough about it to know what it was all about. There were false innuendos, statements, attacks that were unjustified. I have said on the House floor in the House of Representatives that if you make a statement on the House floor, it shouldn't be your opinion unless you say this is my opinion. You shouldn't state it as fact. I have been a great believer in saying the things that I know to be true. And in my column each week, if it's my opinion, I make sure that people know that. But I'll try and be as factual as possible. I don't go on rumors. I don't go on coffee shop talk. I go on what I know. And I think that perhaps the government has done the wrong thing in allowing the IRS to get away with this. I think not only does the director was already replaced, but I think that there's other people there that are responsible for these violations. Their heads should roll too.
Well, the first question I'd ask her is, after she told what she wanted, why did she plead the fifth? That would be my first question. Second, you know, you can't target people. And that's part of what, in my opinion, that the administration is doing now. They're targeting people, you know, the gun rights. You know, all you heard forever is what? We got to have a vote on the gun. We got to have a gun control vote. You know what? Those guns protect us. I know some people don't believe what I believe, but I believe we all have the right to defend ourselves from a country that may go astray. That's what it's about. We don't have the right to hunt because you've got to go get a permit. Now, secondly, the IRS, you know, I'm a living example of how they target people. I thought I was a great golfer, and 2 years ago I went on the mini tour and spent $16,000, which is quite a lot of money. It was my savings and what I sold my farm for, and I made $800. But, you know, I had to pay for expenses and everything, and that's part of your federal income tax, you know. But I thought I was good enough. And, you know, they targeted me and said, it's a hobby. I said, sir, not everybody starts out like Tiger Woods and gets a $10 million endorsement. You have to start here to get here. But they targeted me. They questioned me. They told me I had no right to do it. And I had to go and refile and call someone to get it taken care of. So that tells you what our IRS does. They pick and choose what they want to do. And I have a problem with that. Thank you.
The first question that I would ask her, why are you listening to Barack Obama and trying to target conservatives? That would be the first question. Because I don't care what you say, the administration is in charge of targeting conservatives. And I would look forward to serving on a committee where I could ask the questions and actually look for the oversight of what's been going on. Look at the Obama administration, the Democrat Party, I should say. Obama administration, the Democrat Party. Fast and Furious, Benghazi, and now you have the IRS targeting conservatives. Folks, he campaigned on being the most open, transparent president, and he's been everything but that.
I would simply ask her to produce some evidence as to her daily planner. I want to know what she was doing on a daily basis. She's a government employee. I want to know each and every directive she gave to everybody underneath her, or any questions that she was asked as a IRS employee. But as far as the IRS is concerned, if elected to Congress, I would introduce legislation within the first 30 days to abolish the IRS. As part of my platform, I intend, or I would also sponsor or introduce legislation to eliminate income tax and corporate tax in this country as soon as possible. But I would never allow a rogue agency to go stomping out of a congressional hearing without answering at least one question. That was just a tremendous offense to me, and that alone should put her in jail.